When I need answers about anything to do with personal growth, I go straight to my mom and my aunt. Here they are, Priscilla Babin and Tina Gilliatt with the sister sauce.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina Gilliatt. I'm here with my beautiful sister, Priscilla Babin, and the incomparable Clover Babin. As you may know, Clover is our field reporter and guest commentator this week and last. So we're very happy to have Clover with us. Say hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Well, we are going to get started today. We all celebrated Christmas with our family, and we are having some vacation time right now, enjoying that. But I wanted to ask both Priscilla and Clover what they got for Christmas. You don't have to name everything, just share.
Well, I got a bunch of stuff, obviously. I got stuff that was on my list, things for around the house to organize, and I got some cool socks that have things from the office on them. And I got beautiful pictures, family photographs at JCPenney. And I
Those
got
came out so good too.
Yeah, and I got a cool mug that has a lid, and I got all kind of stuff. I feel bad leaving any out. But I got so many good things. I got lots of awesome things. Got some lights for in my garden that are cool. I don't know. I got lots of stuff.
Clover, what about you?
I got lots of clothes and skincare
Mhm.
and books. I love books.
Mm.
Actually, I only got like 2 books, but I love books. And what else? We got a lot of cookies.
Cookies.
We have a
Lipsticks.
lot of oh yeah, I got lipsticks,
Oh,
makeup
that's
stuff.
cool.
That's good.
And cookies. We got a lot of chocolate.
Yes.
3 different people sent us boxes of chocolate.
Oh, that's
2
kind
of
of
them are the
cool.
Gamble chocolate.
You can't go wrong with chocolate, right? Unless
No,
you're counting Weight Watchers points.
and the Gamble chocolate's kind of like a game. If you don't know what Gamble chocolate means, it's the samplers that have all
Oh,
the flavors.
I
And they
wondered
come
what
with
that meant. I
they
thought
come with
maybe
the
it was.
diagram, but it's still a little bit of a gamble.
I thought it was maybe chocolates from Eric's boss. His last name Gamble.
It is, but no, it's a gamble what you're gonna get if you can't read the chart right, or if the chart is ambiguous and
That's how I broke my nose when I was a kid.
depending
You know
which
that,
direction
right?
Oh, it's just rectangles and ovals. Like it's
Yeah, and it's like this circle is coconut, this other circle is orange cream. It's like which one is which? So
we cut them open.
yeah, we do a little
That's what we used to do.
surgery.
That's what we used to do. When I was a little kid, Grandma got a box of Whitman's and somebody had mixed them all up and we couldn't tell what was what. And I wanted to cut them open and Grandma didn't want to. And she said, just eat it. Whatever it is, you're going to like it. And I'm like, and she said, don't you take one of those candies if you're not going to eat it. Well, I took one and it was nasty. I think it was coconut and I don't like coconut. I like coconut flavor. I don't like the texture.
Same.
And so I wrapped it in a tissue and went to throw it away in the bathroom very guiltily. And I slipped on the floor and hit my face and broke my nose. Yeah, that was the first time. God punished me for being a little evil kid. So I got some good chocolate for Christmas too. One of our cousins gave us each a little container that had the Roca toffee with chocolate and almond shavings on it. Oh my gosh, it's so good and very fattening, but very delicious. You got to try those too, Priscilla. They are good, huh? They stick to my teeth though, and I'm a teeth freak, so that kind of makes me a little crazy. But I liked them. They were good. And I also got 2 purses, and I got, I really like the Pioneer Woman dishes because they have the pretty flowers on them. And I got bowls. And what else did I get? I got a new wallet.
I got a new
And
wallet too.
oh, I got some liquor,
Ooh.
homemade. Yeah.
You got
And
your blessing bracelet.
I got a blessing bracelet. I was so excited. I meant to wear it too today, and I forgot. Thank you, Priscilla, for my blessing bracelet. The Babbins bought me a blessing bracelet. If that's not alliteration, I don't know what is. I just love it. And on my blessing bracelet, first bead.com, is the Babbins.
There you go.
That's right. Well, it
Nice.
sounds like everybody had a great Christmas. I hope everybody out there in podcast listening land had a great Christmas. Priscilla has some hot sauce to share, though. It's about a gift she didn't like. No, I'm kidding. What's your hot sauce for us today?
Actually, my hot sauce is one of those hot sauces that you find in the cabinet that's a little dated, but it still tastes good. This is going to sound weird. A lot of people are going to have no idea what I'm talking about, but some people are going to love this, I think. So we found it's so crazy. If you are a young person or a person who has young people in your house, you may have seen the game Animal Crossing. It is adorable, all these cute little cartoon animals, and you can make your own little avatar, and it's this cute little baby face character. They're all so cute. I don't know how to describe how it looks, but it's just adorable. And you have your little character, and you can change their little outfits and everything. And they look like little children. They all look like little children. And then the neighbors, the people, the characters that are the friends and stuff that are not other players, all are animals, and they have little names, and they each have a real unique personality, and it's adorable. And I know most people should be familiar with the musical Hamilton, and somebody like 3 years ago, right? Sat down and did a tremendous amount of work and created an entire version of Hamilton in Animal Crossing. And it is the darned cutest thing you ever want to see. And it is so funny. And we got sucked in watching it earlier today and almost forgot to get on the podcast because we were distracted. But it is the cutest thing I have seen in forever. And little tiny King George and little tiny Hamilton is a cat.
It's upsetting how cute it is because it's Animal Crossing and Hamilton, and those two things would never go together, but it works.
They made it work.
And the production value is crazy.
Yes.
They edited it.
The editing.
And and you guys are both creative, so you know how much work and time went into that.
Oh yeah.
Somebody really was dedicated.
And to have the number, we one of the big questions for us that we would ask the creator is, how did they get the animals to participate? Because they're supposed to be NPCs, they're not real people. They're non-player characters, so they usually just come and go as they please, and you can't really control them unless somebody made an avatar out of their skin, which sounds creepy, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't think you can. So we don't know how they got all these critters to come in and participate and be, Lafayette.
You don't think it was a game developer maybe that was involved, or?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe it was, but
that is so interesting.
It is over an hour long.
I'm gonna have to tell Livia about that. She loves Hamilton.
They did both acts.
Yeah.
In full. All of the songs, all the dialogue. Actually, I don't think there's that much dialogue in the show that's not in the song.
Right.
But
it's mostly music, yeah. I don't.
And some of the lines they took super literally. They'll do all of the animation. What's it called?
The
emotions.
Oh, the emoticons or whatever.
Yeah, they'll do those for the lines, or sometimes they'll like have certain characters facing backwards and like certain characters facing forward to represent different stuff, and like a lot of thought went into it, and it's crazy.
That's so
I
cool.
remembered what you're talking about, but I can't think of what that's called. And I thought of it when we were watching, when they have a little dance, a little jig they do, or a little move they make. There's a name for that, and I
Yeah.
can't. Oh, I should know because Joey's always buying new ones for his Fortnite characters.
It'll come to you when you least expect
Yeah,
it.
I'll think of it later. But anybody who's ever done
Emotes.
emotes, yeah. So like when King George is doing his little song and he says, and now you're making me mad, and his face turns red and his eyes get all menacing, like makes a mad face. And when he said, "Why are you so sad?" he was sad face. And then when he's supposed to sound like a crazy person, he gets crazy eyes, and it's hilarious. And like the Lafayette's doing a part and he says something about guns and ships, and a whole bunch of cannons pop up on one side of him and a whole bunch of ships in a bottle pop up on the other side, because they only used what items you can use in the game. And like King George's throne room, everything was like seaside design, like the little side tables were held up by crabs. And he had big statues in there, but they were of Kamehameha. It's like, it's so funny. Anyways.
It sounds great. I watched the rerun of the Dick Van Dyke. No, not true. I was thinking I saw it on there, but it was on the Kennedy Honors the other night. They were honoring Billy Crystal. And one of the people that honored him was Lin-Manuel Miranda. And he was so cute. He did a whole I don't know if Clover, if you remember it, but Priscilla, you probably remember when Billy Crystal used to host the Oscars.
Oh
He
yeah.
would do all the song at the beginning where he would name the movies and all that.
Mhm.
Well, Lin-Manuel Miranda did a whole thing about Billy Crystal's life, like Billy Crystal would have done it for the Oscar.
Oh.
And he used these different voices and stuff. And it was
Oh,
really good. He's so freaking talented. I mean,
yes.
and then when you think that somebody took the time to honor him in that way and do the whole Hamilton thing,
Yeah.
it's
Shout out to
lovely.
Lynn, because we're watching the latest installments of the new Percy Jackson series on Disney. And when he popped up as Hermes, all three of us screamed.
Oh
It's
my
him,
gosh, I had
him.
no idea. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You probably told me that and it didn't click. That's awesome. I love
Oh, well,
it.
we just watched the latest
Super
one
talented.
yesterday, so I probably didn't mention that he was on it. I forgot he was going to be in it. The kids told me, but I forgot. And then when he popped up, I went, there he is.
He didn't even have that much of a line. Like he was singing a song in the elevator carrying the package that has Medusa.
Yeah. So he was singing If You Get Lost Between the Moon and New York City, you know that he was singing
Yeah.
that under his breath. And he's on, and then he made some faces that it's just like, oh yeah, that's his face.
He's such a character.
Yep.
Yeah, very talented. Very
Yeah.
talented.
What's our meaty sauce today, Teen?
Our meat sauce is about New Year's resolutions because it's almost New Year's, and this podcast will drop on New Year's Eve. So it's an opportunity for us to maybe help people get a good start to their New Year's resolutions. We decided that we would give some ways to help people stick to New Year's resolutions or choose them wisely. And so that's what we'll be talking about. But before we begin that, do either of you have any New Year's resolutions?
Oh, most of my resolutions are to go back to old resolutions and try again. Like eating more, making sure I'm eating more vegetables and less boxes of Gamble chocolate. Making sure I stay on top of drinking my water. What else? getting some things done around the house, but that's always on my list. So my main things are making sure I'm moving, drinking water, and eating more vegetables. Pretty basic. About you,
What about
Clove?
you, Clover?
I don't really have anything. Um,
You're not resolute.
no.
That's okay. You're young.
Yeah, you are. You haven't made a whole lot of mistakes you need to correct now.
I guess
That's
I
usually what
could-
resolutions are about. Well, I'm already screwing up this year.
I guess I could do more work for class. I mean, I do all my homework and I pay attention, but I could try
Go the
studying.
extra mile.
I don't usually study for things, so that could be a first.
You could
You
put
have-
staying
I
hydrated
think we
on your
need to
list too.
clarify that Clover just doesn't need to study for things. I think you have an eidetic memory
Yeah.
or something.
Pretty good.
Very smart person.
Mhm.
A VSP, a very smart person.
Well,
Well, I sort of don't have New Year's resolutions. I kind of do. I've already been on a journey to eating healthier, but I decided that next year, you know how some people have a word of the year that they come up with and they say, this is my word of the year. Well, I've done that in the past and never really done anything with it. And so this year I decided that my word of the year for 2024 is going to be simplicity. And I plan to simplify my life in 2024. And it sounds a little morbid, but it's because I feel like I'm getting older and I keep saying, one of these days I'm going to do this. One of these days I'm going to do that. And I find myself saying that a lot and looking forward to someday being able to do such and such. But I don't do anything to make space for that in my life. You know what I mean? So like, you guys know that I love to write and I have started and finished one book, but didn't get it published, and started and didn't finish another book. And all of these creative outlets that I have, I put off and I don't do anything with. I'm proud of us that we started this podcast and jumped in. I think the fact that you and I both were doing it together and we had support from our family members made it easier. So but the things that I need to do independently, that's where I slack off and I don't get it done. And I say, well, I'm going to do this. And even some of our partner projects where you and I have talked about, let's do this, and then we don't get around to doing it. But I kind of feel like, we've had a lot going on, so we have some excuses there. But I do want to do more writing next year, and I want to learn how to dance. I sent AJ a snapshot of a swing dance lesson advertisement, and he wrote back and said, did you see how expensive it was? There's probably videos on YouTube that will teach us how to dance. But thing is, he can say that because he already dances really well. I don't dance that well, but we shall see. I found a few YouTube videos and I'm going to practice.
It's probably so expensive because they have to carry so much liability insurance.
I'm like, well, I know how to do a few Zumba moves from watching Priscilla, but I don't know how to do the Roomba or is that a word? Roomba?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of my vacuum cleaner?
No, it's just spelled different.
Oh, okay. Roomba. That's right. And then I don't know how to do, well, I kind of sort of know how to do the waltz, but not the way it really should be done, I'm sure. But anyway, those would be fun if I could learn how to do that. But those are things that and you know what else? Clover, you'll appreciate this. I have been dying for years to be in a play, like a musical or whatever. I just used to enjoy that so much, and we haven't done it in years. You used to do it too, Priscilla. We should all audition together to be in a play. We just look for an audition announcement that says they need incredibly talented and gorgeous people, and then we can all apply.
There you go.
Because all right, So let's talk about New Year's resolutions, and we kind of have some advice for everyone to set the right resolutions and then stick to them. This is not advice that we researched. We did research, but guess what? We didn't like what we found. So
No.
we came up with our own. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I have my little notepad too, because as you were talking, I was thinking about things and I said, oh, we didn't include that. We need to include that. So I'll share those things at the end. But I'll start. First thing to remember is that it's not necessary to make your New Year's resolution like all or nothing. So if you decide that you need to lose weight, don't say, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Instead, say, in 2024, I plan to lose weight. I resolve to lose weight. But even better, you can be specific about how you plan to get there if you want to change certain habits. But just don't be all or nothing. Like, don't set yourself up to fail, right? Because losing 100 pounds is a really lofty goal. And if you are too lofty with that goal, it's not going to happen. So that's my first piece of advice. What's yours, Chris?
The next one is to give yourself some leeway. So for example, if you're going to quit smoking without any helps like a patch or anything, then consider tapering off. So if you're smoking a pack a day, set a goal to get down to a half a pack a day by a certain point, and then a quarter of a pack, and so on. Or I guess you could do the same thing with Gamble chocolates.
I'll only eat 12 Gamble chocolates today.
Yeah.
Next week, I'll go down to 11.
Ration it out.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Along the same lines as that, just make small incremental changes, and you'd be surprised how those small changes will add up.
My director, when I did Mary Kay many years ago, like, oh gosh, it's almost 20 years ago now. It is 20 years ago. Ooh. She used to always say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just like everything else.
That is one for sure. And I'll just interject on that. You know, I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but I don't think I wrote this in my contributions. But I remember when I was going back to school to finish my bachelor's, a lot of my coworkers were going through this program at work. And they kept bugging me, and they were like, Tina, don't you have like 80 credit hours already? This would be perfect for you because it's like this whole curriculum and you can finish that in a year, plus you need 80 additional credits. And I'm like, I don't think I'm quite at 80, but, and so they kept bugging me. Well, they all went back to school and I didn't. They went through this program our company was sponsoring through a local university, and they all graduated a year later. Actually, it was like 18 months or 2 years. And I remember when my friend Edie came back and said, I'm graduating. I said, oh my gosh. I said, I can't believe you're graduating. Has it really been 2 years? And she said, yes. Now, granted, PJ was a baby at the time. So one of my rationales for not going back to school was that I had wanted to be a mom so desperately for so many years that there was no way I was giving up time with my baby. And I believe that was a good choice for me. But it hit me when she said that it had been 2 years. I said, you know what? The 2 years passed, regardless of whether I was in school or not, right? And so if I go to school now, in 2 years, I'll have graduated, or in 2 years, if I don't go to school, I won't have graduated. So that was when I made the decision to go back to school. And just making the decision to change something like that, like just making the decision and starting a healthier way of eating, or starting an exercise regimen, or starting to take one class at a time, empowers you to keep going. It like propels you. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but it just struck me.
Yeah. that initial excitement, I think, is a good kicking off point.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Are you next or me?
I think you're next. Or no, I'm next. Sorry. I interjected on yours and then that's off plan.
Okay.
Plan ahead. Set yourself up for success. For example, if your goal is to learn how to dance, research affordable classes or videos.
I wonder where
There
we
you
got
go.
that example.
You can learn anything from YouTube.
This is the truth. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. That's
I
a
think
good.
there's a special on Duolingo right now too, if anybody wants to learn new languages. They
Ooh,
sent me an ad. I don't feel motivated enough to to learn any new
I
languages
think
right
I have
now.
a mental block with that.
Yeah, me too.
I keep seeing this ad for an app that helps you learn sign language, but you only get like the first month free and then you gotta pay and it's expensive. And
Yeah.
like sign language seems interesting and it would be useful to learn, but it's expensive.
Yeah. When you get old like me, you can take classes at universities, certain ones for free. So I could go to Delgado right now for free because I'm that old. But AJ and I were talking about if they had an American Sign Language class that we would take it because we've always been fascinated with it too. And I know a little bit. I used to know a lot more when I was younger because, Chris, you might remember that I had a best friend when I was in college that was hearing impaired, and she taught me a lot. So I used to know all the letters and I could spell pretty quickly. And I knew some of the symbols like happy and sad and all that, but never did learn extensively. It is very interesting. I would like to learn that too.
I took ASL 1 at Delgado and I got a C.
Oh. even
My
that
brain
kind
just
of
can't
language
conceive more
prevailed.
than one language.
Just you couldn't get it, huh?
Yeah, I didn't do well in
I
Spanish.
got a C in French.
Yeah, I think I got a C in French and I got a D in Spanish. Now all I know in Spanish is dirty words. So
Oh, Livia's taken, I think, 4 years of Latin between high school and college and speaks pretty fluently. However, used to speak to Molly in Latin, our dog, but yeah, none of us understand it. But whenever there's a quiz, a Jeopardy category that's Latin related, she wipes the floor with us. I just don't know it. I can't get it. But she swears it's one of the easier languages to learn. Well, all the Romance languages. So
it's probably a good basis for some of the other ones.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Latin is the root for like 10 languages.
Yeah. The love language.
I love it. I just like the accents. And I can't do them. We won't even go there with me. You know how my accents are. All right. So the next thing is to celebrate small successes. So I probably am being redundant because I think I've said this once before, but I did a panel discussion at the Toastmasters International Convention in Canada. And they were asking us all these questions about, I had been a district director. And so they were asking all these questions like, what did you do to make your district a success and things like that? And one of the questions that got posed to me was, do you recommend celebrating small successes or waiting until you reach a big milestone? And I got credit for being the funniest panelist on the stage because I'm me, and I can't go without cracking a joke every other question. So when they posed that question to me, I said, I'm from New Orleans. We party for every reason. We don't have to wait for big milestones to be met. We celebrate every little success. And I really believe that because celebrating is what kind of keeps you motivated to keep going, right? Now, I'm not saying if you lose 5 pounds, you can eat a hot fudge sundae.
Right.
Figure out a way to celebrate that's not going to break the bank. Clover?
or be unhealthy. Yeah.
There's a study in tactic that it is a little unhealthy, but like, every time you get to a certain point or like you answer a certain number of questions or you get a certain number right, you like give yourself a little treat, like one M&M or something like that.
I love it.
And
Like potty training.
It's like Pavlov, right?
but I tend to struggle with that because then I'll just give up on the studying and then just eat whatever candy I've given myself. And I'm sure it works for some people.
Are you saying the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and its sister tree? Because your mom and I would be munching down on those M&Ms.
Yeah, there's some of those out there right now.
But I
too.
think that's a good theory, right? I mean,
yeah, it's one of the things, if you're, as a former diet and exercise coach, I would have to, you've got to be careful about giving yourself food treats,
yeah.
If you're gonna reward yourself with a food thing, it should be a healthy food thing. Like I'm gonna go to City Greens and get my favorite salad or something like that, or non-food or a lot of people, especially when you have a weight thing that you're dealing with, a lot of people will use food and it's a generational thing, right? Because and I do it too, and I get angry with myself for doing it, but then I have a hard time coming up with other treats. But like we'll celebrate, good report cards by going to get a treat, donuts or bubble tea or something, I've got this light shining on me and it has moved. Coming in the window. But
yeah, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll use sweet treats, especially like ice cream or whatever, as a reward, but we also use it as a consolation. So, oh, I've been having the worst day, so I'm gonna have a big bowl of ice cream, or I'm gonna have, half a bottle of wine or whatever.
I don't drink a
end up-
half a bottle, two glasses. Come on.
Yeah, so you got to be careful what you reward yourself with, or what you use to console yourself. But yeah, if you're celebrating your successes, you can try other things that are less expensive and less unhealthy. Like I'm gonna give myself an hour to binge watch something fun on TV that I have not gotten to see yet, or I'm going to buy myself something small that is something that's useful, especially if it's useful toward your goal. If you want to make a little investment. We're making adjustments over here. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Doesn't look like it's helping, but
The sun is very bright on us all of a sudden.
you should sing "Let the Sun Shine."
There we go. I think that's better.
Just have to do
Yeah,
it.
I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with celebrating with ice cream
No, not
report
yet.
card time or something like that. But I agree
In
with you.
moderation, yeah.
Yeah, everything in moderation, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's Martin Luther, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Good old Marty. The next one is don't give up. If you fall off the horse, get back on. If you've worded your New Year's resolutions appropriately, you have a year to accomplish them. So, if you get halfway into January and you haven't done anything yet, you can always get going again. I love that meme. Have you seen the meme? And it has all the little people on it. It says, when are we going to change? What do we want? Change. When are we going to do it? now? And then somebody says, how about Monday? Yeah. It's like, you don't have to wait for a Monday. You don't have to wait for the first of the month. You can always
Yeah.
start over.
Yeah, I'm sort of jumping down, but well, let me just add to what you were saying. I think so many people set really good, realistic goals for themselves, but it's like it goes back to what I said the first thing, like making it all or nothing. If you start the new year with the attitude, I'm going to do better with my eating this year or whatever, and you screw up the first day, don't just say, oh, well, I blew that and toss it out the window. You had good reason for setting the goal you had. So just get back on that horse and start trying again. And, it's just, it's a slippery slope to allow yourself to give up when you fail, because then you're reinforcing that. I'll just go ahead and fail so I can give up. It's too hard. But I was going to say, I'm skipping ahead, but I wanted to share that quote that's a couple of right below the other thoughts, is that it's one of our favorites in this house. Jerome Bruner says, you are more likely to act yourself into a feeling than to feel yourself into an action. So you act yourself into a feeling, because if you're waiting for that feeling to come, so many people say, oh, I can't start that diet because I got to be in the right mindset. Or I don't want to start working on the yard because it's going to take me all day. And so I don't think I have the energy to go all day working in the yard. You just have to start doing whatever it is that you keep putting off. It's really my husband is an admitted procrastinator. And when he heard that quote, it really has helped him. He has to say it over and over to himself when he finds himself procrastinating. But I right after he learned that quote, I went off to a conference and I came home a few days later, and he had sanded and revarnished our stairs and stair rail and everything. And I said, what happened? And he said, I acted myself into a feeling.
Nice. I need to do that.
Oh, trust me. Same. I have to keep reminding myself of that. And it really is true, though. I mean, if there's something you've been putting off, and if you just start doing it a little bit, not writing that book.
Big.
What?
You need to print that out real big.
For
You should put it
real.
on a poster and hang it over the TV.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
You can hang it on your new refrigerator.
Yeah, except the dent is in a weird place. Oh Lord, don't get me started on that. But I've decided to look past the dent. So for those of you listening, we got a new refrigerator and it has a dent in it. But then we found out that was the reason we got it. It's such a great price. But it's a cool refrigerator. I'll give that. You knock on the front door and the light comes on and you can see what's inside. It blows me away.
Come over and play with it. I want to come over and play with it.
Y'all can come play with it. Yeah. It's
Sure,
pretty attractive.
We have a dent on our fridge too, but Nico put a sticky note with a smiley face on it over it.
Yeah, your mom told me about that. This is a really weird place, though. It's like on the edge where there's only like this much space.
Ew.
So I kind of like, previous to my eye surgery, it would have been real easy to ignore that because I couldn't see beyond the scope of looking at it. Now my range of vision is wider following surgery. So, oh well, I'll ignore it though. So most people think of New Year's resolutions as sort of goals for the future. And so we kind of looked at New Year's resolutions as they compare to SMART goals. And so, the S in SMART is for specific, but I don't know. And Priscilla and Clover, y'all can disagree. Do you think that I don't feel like New Year's resolutions need to be that specific? They can be, but I don't think they need to be. What do y'all think?
No, I think, like you said before, your New Year's Eve goal, your New Year's resolution, excuse me, should be, since you have a whole year and it's a resolution, resolutions are less, I feel like they should be less specific because these are things you're supposed to be changing in your life. These are not one and done. These are not, I'm going to get to this point and I'll be done with it. They're supposed to be making your life better, making changes to your lifestyle and your habits and stuff. So you want them to be lifelong. That's the whole goal of a resolution, is to make a lifelong change for the better, not just this is what I'm doing this year, necessarily. So I feel like it's better for them to be less specific, because those, when you're talking about a specific thing that you want to accomplish, that's a goal, not a resolution. I feel like they're distinct. So I thought that was real good.
Yeah.
Real good thought. And then the M would be measurable. It doesn't have to be measurable either.
Right.
You wouldn't be timing yourself. You wouldn't have to necessarily set a goal time, like if you're losing weight, 25 pounds by March or whatever, you that's setting yourself up for failure with a resolution.
I agree. Yeah. It's like I was saying before, don't say I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Just say I'm going to lose some weight. Yeah. Because even if you end the year losing only like 5 pounds, it's still better than you were the year before, right? So then the A in SMART goals is for achievable, and it definitely should be achievable. That you don't want to set a goal that's unrealistic, or set a resolution that's unrealistic that you'll never be able to achieve. Oh. Or Priscilla?
Well, yeah. The R is for realistic. So it definitely should be a realistic goal that you can do, something doable.
Yeah, for sure. And then timely, as far as timely, when you're looking at SMART goals, usually it's sort of like what you said for measurable, Press, is a certain goal, which was the 25 pounds, by a certain date, which is timely. But the timeliness, they kind of automatically are timely, right? Because if I say my New Year's resolution for 2024 is, then I'm talking about doing it in 2024 at some point. So you could set incremental goals. Like if you decided you wanted to quit smoking by the end of 2024, your incremental goals could be to get down below a certain number of cigarettes a day by certain dates, like once a quarter, set us an incremental goal.
Yeah, that tapering.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. And so you and I both are familiar with the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And I know this was kind of my thing, but I preached them to you so much that you were familiar with them. And so we thought that and some other leadership lessons would be helpful in doing the New Year's resolutions, in not only setting them, but also maintaining them. And I'll jump back a step and say that John Maxwell's book, 21 Irrefutable Laws, was one we looked at, but we also have done our study on intentional living, and we've talked about it tenfold. I mean, we even did a little series on it with the Sensei sisters back when we were doing our Wednesday videos. And intentional living is all about just being intentional about everything you do. And of course, that's how you're going to meet any goal and stick to any resolution. So it's worth mentioning. But the 21 Irrefutable Laws, while they're designed to help people become better leaders of other people and of teams, they are also set up to help you succeed as a leader of your own person, right? Of yourself. And so we pulled 5 laws that we thought would be helpful with New Year's resolutions. And the first of those was the law of the lid. Now, the law of the lid is leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. Looking at that in self-management, and saying, how does that help me be a better person within myself and to achieve my goals, is that you have to know your own ability and not limit your potential. And so while the leadership lid is all about your level of effectiveness as a leader, you don't want to put a lid on your potential as a human being either, and set resolutions that are worthless, basically, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Shoot for the moon, don't it's kind of a healthy balance, because you don't want to set yourself up to fail, as we've already talked about, but also know that you're capable of meeting any goal that's realistically set. Does that make sense? I felt like I was talking in circles.
No, it makes perfect sense. And then also one of them is the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. Develop good habits. And actually, while you were talking just now, I was thinking about what you were saying and what we had said before. And in the comparison between goals, and having goals and having resolutions, is this right here, I feel like, is a key thing, the good habits, because a resolution is not a destination the way a goal is. A goal is a destination, it's where you're going, but a resolution is changing your journey. So it's focusing on what your actions are, and not where your final product is going to be. It's what your efforts, it's about your efforts and not about your achievements. So
I don't know if you remember. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, one you have to take it one day at a time.
When I was teaching some classes on the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership at one point, and that's no longer part of my certification. But when do you remember that I used to use you as the law of process? I don't know if you remember that, but I had to give like my own stories and examples of every law. And so there were two, and we're going to talk about the other one too, that I always talked about you. And the first one was the law of process, because I watched you with your Zumba business, and you had that law of process down to a T. You decided, I'm going to try these certain things to see what works well. And one was the Groupon thing. And I watched you didn't so I have this tendency myself to try something, and if it doesn't work out right away, I give up on it. But not you. You took that law of process seriously, and you just practiced what you knew potentially would work. You stuck with it, and you stuck with it, and you stuck with it, and eventually it started working. And then when you saw it working in certain areas, you branched out in those areas. And that was you were a very good example of the law process. You did it well.
Well, thank you.
Kudos to you, my sister. The next law was it's actually the 16th law in the book. So law to lid was one, and law to process is two. But the law number 16 is the next one that I felt was appropriate for New Year's resolutions. And that's the law of the Big Mo. And the law of the Big Mo is all about momentum. I just love the way the Big Mo sounds. That's so cool. Cool. But the law says momentum is a leader's best friend. And basically what it means is, if you're like Priscilla and you do really well with the law of process and you keep doing what you're supposed to do, eventually momentum is going to carry you. You're not going to have to work so hard. So for example, if you decide that you're going to walk 2 miles every day, and it's hard as heck the first 3 weeks that you're doing it, but eventually at some point, momentum is going to kick in, and it's going to become easier and easier, and you're going to start doing it without even thinking about it. I love momentum. I need some momentum right now.
Yeah. Same.
or you start writing that book, right? And the first 20 pages are hard as heck, but once you get going and your creativity juices are flowing, yeah. The law of money.
Ah, the next one is 17, the law of priorities. Leaders understand that activities is not necessarily accomplishment, so get your priorities straight. So this actually is a little counterpoint to the other one I had. Excuse me. So you if you're doing some activities, I guess you should pay attention to see if they're actually helping you
Yeah.
make those resolutions happen, and make sure that you're on the right track. And keep
What's it called? What's the thing I'm thinking about in business? It's something value. Do
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Return value, return
return on investment.
return on investment. Thank you. That was going to drive me crazy because it was right on the tip of my tongue. Return on investment. Yeah, it's so true. You and I have talked about that because I talked about my website. I'm like, no, I don't know that my website is a good return on my investment. I am just putting more and more money into it and really don't even use it anymore. So, yeah.
Mm.
Simplification 2024. That website might be going away.
Yeah, you gotta
There'll
evaluate
be no more
periodically.
TinaGilliard.com. Oh.
You get a free one.
Yeah, I have to set up a free one. Can't do it with the domain, but we'll figure it out. I don't know. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to be. I can just feel it. Which brings me to the law of sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
So,
Excuse me.
oh, bless you.
The sunlight got to me.
the sun dust. What do they call it?
Yeah, we used to call them little friendlies. Dust motes, right? Is it motes? Not mites. The motes are the little things that float through the air.
All right, so the last one is the law of sacrifice. In the leadership laws, it's a leader must give up to go up. So it means that you have to make sacrifices to climb the ladder. You're not going to just climb the ladder automatically. So you have to be willing to make sacrifices in order to accomplish your goals. You have to give up the chocolate cake if you want to lose weight, or you have to be willing to get out there and work hard to develop your muscles, or you need to sit at the computer and not stare at the TV if you want to write that book. So it's all about sacrifice, and then reward yourself with some TV time if you write a whole chapter.
Yeah. It's like it's those classic ones, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't no pain, no gain, and most of the time change is not convenient. It's challenging. There's another one. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you.
I like that. My therapy, I had it on my Facebook page.
Oh yeah, when you went
for a
to
while, you remember
therapy.
that?
Yeah.
In physical therapy for my shoulder, I had such a hard time because my shoulder froze. I don't know if that's the proper term, but anyway, my shoulder kind of locked in place because I didn't have therapy soon enough after my rotator cuff surgery. And it was the most excruciating thing to go through to try to loosen that shoulder up. And it was so painful. But they had this big quote on the wall that said something about not achieving anything if you're not willing to do the work or whatever. And it was such a good quote. I'll have to look that up. I don't remember what it was, but it was really good. Trust me.
Can always post it later. There's is it a book, Atomic Habits?
Yes. Yes. By
That's
James Clear. By James Clear.
That's a good book if your New Year's resolutions are related to changes in your habits. So Atomic Habits, and that's on my reading. I think I downloaded it when you told me about it, but I haven't looked yet. Maybe one of my resolutions should be, or my goals should be to read Atomic Habits.
Yeah, it's really good. One of my students recommended it to me, and we talked about it when we did our favorite books thing. But yeah, for sure, it's a very good book, and if you're trying to develop good habits, it has some really good hints in it for you to do, not just to develop good habits, but to break bad ones as well.
Mm.
So it's good. And then the final thing that we had on our list, I'm trying to find that quote because I'm going to say it before we get off of here, is watch your language. So don't say things that are out of your control. So it sounds stupid, but you'd be surprised how much our own language derails us. And so if you say something like, in 2024, I'm going to get healthy, and then you're diagnosed with cancer or whatever, immediately you feel like a failure. So you don't determine things or don't make statements about things that are not in your control. Instead, just say, I'm going to eat better foods, or what can you control? So use language that is what you can control and not out of your control, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, good stuff. I hope that will help some people with their New Year's resolutions. Are y'all both ready to go with your New Year's resolutions now that you've learned from us?
Maybe.
Now that we've learned what we have
I'm definitely more motivated now. I think we're putting Clover to sleep.
I'm finding that quote. Wait, I'm almost there. Let me find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. You never know. Oh, this is even better than I thought. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have.
Oh, that is true.
So it's different than what I thought, but yeah. People say all the time, I couldn't do it. You know, if you look at what somebody else is going through and you go, I can never handle that. You never know how strong you are until that's your only choice, right?
Yeah. And we've both been through things where
for sure
people wanted to come in, and I'm like, I don't feel like a strong person. I did not was not ever given the option of not doing what I needed to do, you know?
Contrary to those people that say to us, be strong, just because we're venting.
Yeah. Have faith. What else do
I am
got?
strong, and I do have faith. I'm just whining a little. Let me whine.
Even Job got to get stuff off his chest, for Pete's sake. Golly.
For real. When we lost our house in the hurricane and PJ was in the hospital, people used to say, you're just like Job. I would say, don't say that. I mean, Job's family members started dropping. I don't want to go through that.
And all his cattle.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So Clover, you have some sweet and sour sauce to share with us? Did it wake you up?
I do. I got some sweet and sour sauce. All right. Today's sweet and sour sauce is brought to you by a screenshot of a Tumblr post I saw on Pinterest. It's basically your New Year's resolutions don't always have to be some big grand change that you're going to make in your life. It can just be like a small positive step in any direction. Positive step in any direction. So like I saw this screenshot of a Tumblr post on Pinterest of this girl saying that she just wanted to try all the different kinds of pastas in the new year. And good for her. Obviously, she's going to have to spread them out a little bit to, keep a healthy, what's that called?
Diet.
Balance.
Balance, a healthy balance of pasta level. But it could just be, I'm gonna read more books this year, or I'm gonna try to contribute less plastic to the oceans this year, or just anything that can be a positive step in any direction. Or you can say, I'm gonna watch more classic movies this year. That's a good one.
Ooh.
I did that this past year by taking a film class, and I am better for it. I saw a lot of movies that I probably would not have watched on my own. And, I really liked a lot of them. So, any positive step in any direction can be a resolution.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, that's really great.
That
Yeah,
was
and like with the recycling and stuff like that, we do our best too. And I was just going to say, we don't have recycling here in the parish. And so I know a lot of people just throw their hands up and say, oh, well, we don't have recycling in the parish. But you guys know I have a bin in my pantry that says cans only, and we recycle our cans. We bring them to the aluminum place, and they give us so much money for it, actually. And we take that money and donate it to the church in memory of PJ, because PJ always was the one that collected the cans in the past, and he would cash them in for a little money here and there. And so we donate that money to the church now in memory of him. And then we bring our glass to church because it goes to the awesome recycling in New Orleans, glass half full.
Yeah.
And so we have a recycling bin for paper at church and for plastics. So yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Glass Half Full. If you're not familiar and you live in this area, you can get on board with them. They have paid services, I think, where you can actually get your glass picked up, or they have certain days for drop off. They have 2 locations. They might have more now, but last I checked, there was 2 locations. And if you just Google Glass Half Full New Orleans, you can find them online, and they have their schedule and everything. And you just bring your glass, and if you go and bring your glass, the last time I went, now it's been a while, so things might have changed, but they had barrels marked for different colors of glass or kinds of glass, and you just placed, and there's helpers there who will tell you if you've got an odd piece that's, you're not sure which bin it goes in, and they'll help you. But if you do, if you do the paid pickup, or if you participate, you could team up even with your friends and get one person to be the point person and pay for pickup, like somebody who lives close to you or who you see all the time, and you could compile your glass together, kind of like carpooling, but with glass.
Yeah.
And you could do it that way if you don't want to have to go all the way to one of their locations.
Yeah,
They're far,
I think
but
we might have that pickup at church, but I'm not sure.
you do. Yeah, I think we do, because they put that big bin outside now, and it's marked for glass half full. So I think they do come and pick it up.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I could not explain the scientific process behind it, but they actually have some benefits to bringing it to them as opposed to another glass recycling. So I'll post the link in our show notes, and people can go check it out. I want to say it's something to do with coastal restoration. I should know
Yeah, I believe
this.
so. Yeah, I think they
But
grind it down into sand,
Yes. I
and
think you're right.
it aids coastal restoration, which is fantastic. That and the Christmas tree program. So if y'all are getting rid of your live trees this
Awesome.
week or next week, look out. I think they do a pickup or something, or there's a place you can take your tree. I'm not sure. I forget how they do that, but I think in Jefferson Parish there's a pickup. But depending on where you live, look online if you have a live tree and see how you can get it somewhere where it'll be helpful. And especially down here in South Louisiana, coastal restoration, they use those old trees. Not the plastic ones, just the real ones.
I was gonna say we got a plastic one that probably needs to go out to the curb. I think it's going back to our 10-year thing where Well, everything we own is 10 years old, right? Because we lost everything in 2012. So 2022, everything that we lost is, either
Almost
9
10
years or
years
10 years old in 2022. And most of it, we moved into our house in 2013, and that's when we actually bought replacement things. And
So now most of it's 10 years old, hitting its limit.
yeah, like my Christmas tree.
Planned
But
obsolescence.
yeah, for sure. Anyway.
What's your saucy thoughts today, T?
I have some salsa thoughts. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I have some sauce for thought about forgiveness. And yeah, I won't sing the cheesy song that they sing in the movie Friends, Friendship, Friends, just like a friend, whatever the movie is, Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. It gets a little nasty, so I won't sing it. But you notice how I have a lot of things like that I can't talk about because they're a little too saucy. But our podcast listening audience. But I was thinking about forgiveness, and I saw this meme. It's not a meme, I know. It was a little graphic that had the scripture for Isaiah 9:6 on it. Now, if you're not familiar, Isaiah 9:6 says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given." And the way they did it was the word "for" was really big, and it was in red. And then it said, "Unto us a son is born, unto us a child is given." And "given" was in all capitals in red, and it was big. So "forgiven" were the bookends of this scripture. And it just got me thinking, and I said, that's so cool. And one of my friends, or actually it was a church that had shared it, and I follow a lot of different churches on Facebook. And this church that had posted that, they had a little thing about how they said something about how it doesn't cost anything to forgive somebody. Okay. Mm-hmm. But then I started thinking about it and thinking to myself, it didn't cost us anything to be forgiven. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about it in that terms. We were not worthy of the Lord's forgiveness. We did nothing to deserve forgiveness. We're just these lowly, crummy people who have sinful ways, but yet we are forgiven. Mm-hmm. And so when you're thinking about forgiveness, my challenge for you is to think about not making your forgiveness of another person cost anything. I heard a sermon one time preached by a pastor where he talked about forgive and forget. And he posed the question to the congregation, do you think that it's necessary to forget if you're going to forgive? And I hear people all the time say, I can forgive you, but I'm not going to forget this. Meaning, I'm not going to let you mess with me again. I'm not going to let you hurt me again. And I think there's a certain amount of fairness, I guess, in saying, I can forgive this person, but I can't let them hurt me again. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's what forgiving and forgetting is all about. Forgiving and forgetting is just not holding that over that person constantly. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to encourage everybody to think about that. And if we could all just be more forgiving in the way we treat other people. And I'm not saying this, hey, you people, you need to be, I'm included, right? I think the world would be a better place if we could all just be more kind and forgiving.
Mm-hmm. And not make the forgiveness conditional, the same way you would make a gift conditional.
That's true. That's true. Don't make them have to pay for the forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you see like, I've been, they changed all the TV channels, and the channel I used to watch now has all these crime things on it. And I watched one the other day where this woman forgave this guy who had killed her daughter. And somebody said to her, but he showed no remorse whatsoever. And she said, it's okay. I didn't forgive him for him.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow, that's true. You forgive other people for yourself so that you can move on.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are remorseful, that forgiveness will mean the world to them. But if they're not, that's okay. Just forgive them anyway and move on. Yeah.
Yep. And that's what you have to do. If you have to keep forgiving the same person for the same thing over and over again, you might have to come to a point where you say, okay, either this behavior has to end or I need to move on. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because forgiveness isn't always about forgiving and keeping them in your life, right?
Mm-hmm. It might be a break.
Yeah. We were on a break. I'm sorry, that just came to mind.
I knew you would have to bring the friends one into it. I felt it coming. It's like me with my office quotes.
Hey, I didn't quote Ted Lasso. Be a goldfish. No, that's one of Ted Lasso's. Be a goldfish. Because goldfish forget. Oh, that's appropriate for my forgive and forget, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was just looking up to see what we're planning on talking about next week. I had to look ahead. Oh, it's another one that's right up my alley.
Ooh.
And we'll probably interest Clover, but Clover will be back in school, sadly. But we will be talking about career and technical education. So it will be helpful to people who are trying to decide on a career. For those who don't know, my master's is in education and specifically career and technical ed. So I get all excited about this stuff. Ooh, it's so much fun. Priscilla and I are going to take a career assessment to see what careers we should go into. Yeah, right.
Those are never accurate.
You'd be surprised.
You're talking about the online quizzes though.
No, I've taken ones for school that they made me take, and it's telling me I should go into like engineering and wood carving and like stuff to like architecture. And I thought about doing architecture for a while.
I remember
but I
that.
never do it. I like.
Well, so not to get ahead to next week's topic, but what I really found fascinating about it when I studied it was that when I was your age, Clover, we took like a bubble test, right? Where it was actually like those Idaho tests or whatever. And based on our scores for that, and it was just basic math. It wasn't what are your interests. It was like basic math and English and all that. Our counselor would call us in and say, these are the careers that I think you should consider going into. So of course, for me, I was a math whiz. I loved math and I did very well in math. And so my counselor called me into her office my senior year, very early in the year, and said, I think that you should consider going into a career of computers because you're good at math. But she knew nothing else about me, didn't know anything about my personality or anything. And then they offered me a scholarship to Delgado, where I was already going for free because our mom taught there. And so I said, no, that's okay. Give the scholarship to somebody else. I've already taken 20 hours and I was still in high school. So anyway, I am just fascinated at the extent that the new career lists break down. And so, and it does take into consideration your talents and your interests. But I can understand for somebody young, I guess, because as an older person answering the questions, maybe I'm biased and they go a certain way. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We'll get you to take it as well. It is an online thing. But it's through Arizona. So I will University of Arizona. So I will find the link and send it to you guys. And if everybody tunes in next week, we'll give you guys the link and you guys can take it and let us know how you do. You might want to change your career after listening to the Sister Sauce.
Right now, my career is TV.
Your career is super mom. Don't you dare undersell that.
like in the Barbie movie, Ken's career is beach. Mine is house.
Mine is a laptop, basically. Oh, look, I went into computers. Now, back when I was Clover's age, though, computers were those big giant things that took up a whole room and
Had
had
those
to be air
cards.
conditioned. Yeah, and had punch cards and was all about ones and zeros. Yeah, just so everybody knows.
Well, computers are still about ones and zeros, but
Yeah,
much
but they're
bigger.
not on little punch cards that you make wreaths out of. Oh, well, that's a whole nother show. Well, we'll see you guys next week. But until then, make yourself a priority.
And take care of you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thanks for joining, Clover.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to keep up on all the latest sauce. See you next time.